here are two of the biggest Saiyaara fans on the planet. 3 times for both of you.
Yeah.
I have to say at this point, who are you and where is Rahul Desai?
Trust me, you'd like this version better.
Like right now, I know so many screenwriters who got calls that, do you have a romantic film ready?
I can never pan a show the way I pan films because 8 episodes, I can tell it's taken 3 or 4 years of ambition, and ambition is something we lack otherwise.
These two men kept talking, and at some point, I wanted both Hrithik and NTR to just like do some action and not talk because they kept talking a lot.
Logic should not matter. I'm not looking for logic here.
Yeah.
But I'm saying those moments that you have need to offset your lack of logic.
I cannot tell you. It was like packed, okay? And the screaming and the cheering and the whistles. Like, you're already half in love with the film.
Yeah.
Out of all the films that came out, there were patriotic shows, there were all sorts of political films this month. That was the most progressive film I've seen, with the silly comedy and all. And there were some very funny gags in that film, but I was very surprised with how it was screening. Like, nobody had problems with it, which is great.
Hi everyone, you're watching It's a Wrap, our monthly roundup of everything that was hot and happening in that month. I'm Anupama Chopra.
I'm Rahul Desai.
I'm Justin Rao.
And we're going to be having a chat about everything that kind of excited us, made us anxious and sad, because that stuff happens too. So, Justin, let's begin with the great Coolie and War Independence Day release. This was supposed to be the biggest box office weekend in the history of Indian cinema. What happened?
I mean, disappointment. But there were signs. I mean, closer to release, like the week leading up to both War 2 and Coolie, the industry kind of knew that at least one of the films is not going to fire. And I think exactly like that happened. War 2, I mean, Coolie did very well, let's be honest here. Even though the lifetime numbers right now are at, I mean, globally 500 crores, but Coolie began with a bang, which everyone knew will happen. It's War 2 which was a bigger disappointment because people really thought that War 2 will do at least 130, 150 crores day one. It did around 80. Let's proper half. That sank everything down. And I think the start of War 2 was so slow that really nothing could pick up after that. So I think not really the big box office weekend, historically speaking, as the trade was very, very excited about. Pretty disappointing. Nothing worked.
You know, for me, I think the moral of the story again was that it's all about the story, right? I don't know. What was your sense of it?
Yeah, same. I mean, I watched War 2. I did not watch Coolie because it was the same day. I hate to say I expected it, but you get a sense if you're doing this long enough. I was obviously hoping that we get something new, because obviously Brahmastra didn't do as well as people imagined. Not a lot of people liked it, so I thought same director, another chance. I don't think it worked for a lot of us, and I don't think it's the worst thing I've seen this year by a margin.
Of course not.
It's not. Like, I thought there was a lot of things going on because of the first film. I think they had something to lean on. Primarily being Hrithik.
Yes.
Hrithik being the primary thing. And I was like, you can't really undo that foundation, which they didn't. But I also thought that, it's this new era of action filmmaking also, like where no matter how much hard work you put into it, if there's, as you said, if there's no writing and if the imagination is a little generic, you can't get away with it now when we are watching say a Tom Cruise film every year or a Brad Pitt film every year. And those directors are really at the top of the game. And it's not, I'm not saying that it has to look convincing. Please look fake by all means. It's fine. But there has to be a sense of, there has to be timing, there has to be a sense of mainstream understanding, even because F1 looked fake in a lot of things as well, if you want to compare it to a Hollywood sort of recent film. But they really got the writing, they knew where to really amplify the moments.
And F1 is not like some vastly original story.
No.
Not at all.
We've seen this hundreds
summer
of times.
blockbuster.
Yeah.
And
but they just got the beats.
Yeah, and nothing can be, see, there's no originality because everything is a sort of a copy of a copy now. And I'm not saying that as a criticism, that's just how storytelling goes. There's nothing original left to say. So how you do your derivation is what matter. I'm going to go back to Saiyaara there, but I'm just giving you an example of how to make
We
a
can talk about
derivative.
Saiyaara. It was July,
Since
and we
it's
don't
a
have to
production
be.
house. But okay.
We have to. Yeah.
We have to. Here are two of the biggest Saiyaara fans on the planet. 3 times for both
yeah,
of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be 4th if there are enough shows. Huh?
There's one show.
There's one show. Let's watch it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I have to say at this point, who are you and where is Rahul Desai?
trust me, you'd like this version better.
I do. I think it's very nice that you love this film so much. But for me, that was also, I guess, one of the lessons that when Yash Raj Films took that risk and they put those newcomers and they spent that money and they also went back to a sort of an old school, texture of storytelling, all of which conventional wisdom would say would not work.
Yeah.
That's the one that paid off.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, will people look at this and say, okay, then let's take risks? Or will they not?
No, it's already happening, by the way. I mean, not risk, but the copycat version is happening. Like right now, I know so many screenwriters who got calls that, do you have a romantic film ready? It's not even like, let's start thinking.
Oh, that's not taking risks.
No, that's not.
That's what happened with horror comedies just like a couple of
That's
years
exactly what happened with action films as well, right? Like after Pathaan took off, suddenly the industry was like, give us one more Pathaan or one more Stree. It never works.
Yeah. No, that doesn't work. What else has been happening? I know you guys are much better with streaming than I am. I'm still very commitment phobic and I'm always like, I could do 6 films in the same time that it'll take to watch this. Is the streaming landscape more exciting?
I'd have to say it's definitely more exciting. Even the misfires are very interesting. That's the one thing I've taken away over the last couple of years. And there were a lot of shows this month. Like every big platform had a show out, whether it's Netflix, Amazon, Sony Live. Not all of them worked, obviously. Some, like Saare Jahan Se Acha was the big Netflix series. And I think that worked the most out of a lot of the others. Again, the theme is the same. It's patriotism, it's India, Pakistan. It's something we've been doing for a while, but they tried to do something different, even if it looked a little patchy. And you could tell that there were too many sort of voices making that show. But I'd still say there's more ambition in streaming, because at the end of the day, even though streaming tries to replicate the mainstream Hindi cinema template, in long form storytelling there's no escape. For 8 episodes, you cannot do that. You can't make a film 8 times.
You have to be creative.
You have to be creative. You have to. It's an actor's medium for me most of the time, because that continuity of performance will get exposed if you're not attuned to streaming. So I felt like even in a misfire like Andhera, which was an Amazon Prime show, it was a horror show, and we are in an era of horror. This year has been all about horror across languages. I think there was more ambition in that show. I was very impressed with the scale of thinking, even though none of it landed. But
at least the Udan is big.
Yeah, I'm at a stage where the thinking needs to be like Mandala Murders, which was last month for Netflix, YRF again. I thought there was incredible scale and originality in thinking, even though it didn't land.
Right.
None of it. Like I couldn't watch it after a while, but I'll take it. I'll take a failure like that over something that we've seen 100 times over. Like even though I'm mentioning a show about patriotism and all, I think they were trying to do different things in that show, because the same story was made twice in 2 weeks, because Hotstar had Salakar, which was the same story of an Indian spy in the 70s, sort of neutralizing Pakistan's nuclear ambitions. The same story came in next week in Netflix. So I felt like I was watching the same thing twice in terms of writing and storytelling. But you can see then the difference in production value, difference in nuance. Eventually none of them worked for me, but I'd still say I'm looking for, whenever I hear a show is coming out next week or next to next week, I'm always subconsciously looking forward to that, because some of our best storytellers, some of our best writers and actors are on those shows, and these are mostly people who have been rejected by the mainstream, and they hunger shows. I like that, because
they're trying harder.
Yeah, I can never pan a show the way I pan films. Like I find that because 8 episodes, I can tell it's taken 3 or 4 years of of ambition, and ambition is something we lack otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Rahul, it reminded me, I mean, when I was watching Saare Jahan Se Acha, it's a show about spies, right?
Yeah.
And it came on the same weekend as War 2. And I mean, my problem with War 2 and spy universe in general is that I can't differentiate between Pathan, Tiger 3 and War 2 anymore because they all look the same.
Yeah.
It's all green screen aesthetic, right? But I was able to differentiate between a Tiger and a War and a Pathan because Tiger is more political, like Tiger Zinda Hai.
Yeah.
War was between the fun of Pathan and the politics of Tiger. It was the right amount of seriousness.
Right.
Visually, all three, Pathan, Tiger and War, were different. Right now, they all feel the same.
Yeah.
So my problem with while watching War 2 was that I've seen this before. I've seen the green screen, I've seen the plane stunt, I've seen everything, and it looks, I mean, it just doesn't look convincing. I know you said that conviction is not a problem,
Yeah.
but to me it felt like I'm watching the same film again and again. So yeah, Saare Jahan Se Acha that way was quite different for me.
Yeah,
See,
again.
I think conviction meaning maybe what you mean, or in my head at least, it still has to look convincing or at least interesting. I think logic is not a problem, right? Beyond a point, I'm not
Yeah,
asking
that's
for
fine.
logic.
Yeah.
I'm like, jo karna kar lo.
Yeah, correct.
We can flit from here to there and
Correct.
just keep flitting, and we
Correct.
can be in
Yeah.
Japan and we can be wherever we want to.
Yep.
So I'm not looking at, for me, it's like, just give me a high,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Give me those moments.
Give me the
Like,
moment.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the thing I ended up writing about the Saiyaara piece that I did. While I was trying to figure out why these films work for us psychologically more than the other mainstream films, and it's not just the thing about an old school love story or something like Metro, which has great music, you know, and you just go back to watch those moments again and again in that film. Those moments we've lost over the last 10 years or so, and now when we see it, it becomes so potent that we stop caring about the story. We stop caring about the big picture. And that I think is nice. That is what mainstream story, as you said, you know, logic should not matter. I'm not looking for logic here.
Yeah.
But I'm saying those moments that you have need to offset your lack of logic.
Yeah.
And it's just not happening most of the, in an action film, there's no escape because you know you put everything in a set piece.
Yeah.
After the, like, I'm watching a man walk on a plane at cruising altitude. Okay, I'll take it. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Despite my flight fears, I'm
Right,
fine.
right.
But then after that, what do you have? And before that, what do you have? And that moment needs to land so much that you don't care about what's happening later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ritik needs to have the swag that I don't like, his entry sequence in War.
Yeah.
I didn't care after a while. I loved the tension between him and Ashutosh Rana and Tiger. You know, it was a new thing then.
Yes,
But now you
yes.
can tell that we are aware we did that then. We
Yeah.
are going to double down here.
Yeah.
The design is obvious.
But
Yes.
that's true because I remember Siddharth Anand talking about this very same thing while he was making Fighter. That people are talking about the way Ritik walks, so I need to design a Ritik walk for Fighter. Right now, it becomes a thing.
It's a conscious thing.
Yeah,
Correct.
it is a
Absolutely.
conscious thing. It is a conscious thing. Did you see Coolie, Justin?
I did.
And you know, I have to tell you, I was with it, logic be damned,
Yep.
for the first half. I think
Same.
it lost me at the heart transplant.
Yeah, it did.
Oh,
There's a
is.
situation where hearts are being harvested.
Sure.
And at that point, I was like, okay, nahi.
Yeah, and I didn't
You
know
know?
what was happening anymore, and I didn't care. I mean,
Yeah,
first
yeah.
half I was genuinely
I
invested.
was really into it.
Yeah.
I was into Monica. I was
know,
into these
I know.
baddies who are just so much larger than life.
Yeah.
And, you know, all of it.
And
It was
Nagarjuna
great.
was so fun for me. Like I was delicious.
Nagarjuna was fun. Rajini sir was like just killing it. You know,
Absolutely.
this whole place that he lives in where
Yeah.
there's one room where the door never opens. And it's like,
Yeah.
and it's moments.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's all this collection of moments that just keep you going, and you never say like, what are you even saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then I don't know. It's very intriguing to me, and I always wonder, what is that point at which a story, which is fairly logic-free, becomes too logic-free? Like, agar if you were with it, फिर heart transplant में इतनी क्या ही problem है?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something about it just said, I was like, nahi,
Yeah. You know,
I don't know. What is it?
you know, I think it reminded me not the best example, but kind of second half of Andhadhun, right? If you remember,
Yeah.
it completely takes a detour,
It's a
right?
good point. Yeah.
It completely goes.
Yeah, Andhadhun also lost me because I
Correct.
felt like now you can do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and the organic storytelling, then you could see the design.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it worked for me in Andhadhun. I mean, largely still because I was I don't know, maybe it's still the writing. It's of course a better written film.
Yeah.
But I remember watching Andhadhun in the second half when the whole, I think, kidney transplant,
it was an organ transplant.
organ transplant, and I'm like, what is happening? I was not
Right.
in it, but still I was charmed,
Yeah.
which wasn't the case with Coolie. Like, it just completely lost me.
Yeah.
Similar
Yeah.
with War too. In fact, these two men kept talking, and at some point I wanted both Hrithik and NTR to just like do some action and not talk, because they kept talking a lot, and I'm like, this is too much. Not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me.
You know, I have to tell you though, I see, I can't bear to see the dubbed versions. So I always look for the movie subtitles, right? So there is a theatre in Sion called Movie Max,
Yeah.
okay, where I go to see my Tamil films. I cannot tell you, it was like, and it wasn't first day, first show, because I also had to go to War first. So I did all of that, and then I went at like 6 in the evening, packed, okay? And the screaming and the cheering and the whistles, like that itself was so energizing and just so much fun that you're already half in love with the film.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, I'm like, you don't even have to work. I'm already here,
Yep.
like in love with whatever you're going to tell me, you know, and it's so magical to experience that. And I felt like afterwards I was really thinking, I'm like, it's so sad that it's so rare now with a Hindi film.
Yeah,
Like the last time for me was Pathaan.
Pathaan or Jawan.
Yeah, those two movies. Like I don't remember any other film. I don't know if Saiyaara got there a little late, because I saw first day, first show.
Yeah, it
again.
took a while. Though.
It took a while too. Yeah, because this is like, you know, the S of superstar comes and everyone loses it. And it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
That's a superstar. I mean, that's our thing across the pan-India thing in general. It's been happening, and I've always been fascinated as when we do sit in screenings like this, like even as film critics, as viewers, how we sort of separate the noise around.
It's very hard.
It's very hard because I found myself struggling to do so. Say in my, I was like, thank God, I went for a second screening of Saiyaara in Regal, and it felt like an action film, the way people were cheering for moments and the way people were sort of conversing with the characters on screen. And I'm like, if I had to review the film today in this atmosphere, and that's a tricky part with Rajnikant films, with Shah Rukh films. How do you, and as you said, your default state is you're already half in love with the film. That happened with Ekta Tiger back in the day with me. When I saw the entry sequence, I was like, I don't care what happens after this is a great film. Like
when he walks in silhouette,
oh my
God, everyone starts shouting.
It's insane.
Yes.
So like when you create those moments, I'm like, there's a crowd around you, there's there's goosebumps. Do you need a story after this?
Yeah, no, you don't.
So despite that, if it still goes wrong, then there's a problem.
Has it ever influenced your review? Like,
I think it has. I think
it has to, no, Justin.
It has to. Like, we are humans, and I think the human part of your reviewing should come out. Because otherwise, what, you're a robot. And I think even I think a lot of you know, the people, the PRs who throw press shows understand that. So now there are more people. They're not just journalists in a press show. You know, so when there is noise around, they also know that it can influence your idea of the film. Now the struggle is to push back in my head against what is real and what is not.
That happens a lot in comedies, by the way.
So
we have people who will just be seated there to laugh.
Planted people.
So that they laugh, and when they are laughing, you feel like maybe it's a good joke,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
I mean, you mentioned comedies. I have to special mention for Son of Sardaar 2 this month. I'm not even joking.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, of course you haven't seen it. But
I was traveling, don't laugh.
No. I see you're traveling. But Son of Sardaar 2, I have to say, out of all the films that came out, there were patriotic shows. There were, you know, all sorts of political films this month. That was the most progressive film I've seen.
In what way?
In many ways. It was very old school, Indians and Pakistanis in a foreign country. Together. Falling in, not only families trying to sort of, a Pakistan family pretending they're Indian to get their daughter sort of married to an Indian person. And then, you know, addressing things like this, the religious discrimination. Amongst with the silly comedy and all, and there were some very funny gags in that film, but I was very surprised with how first of all how old school it was, in that we used to see comedies like this 20 years ago, and how how it was screening. Like nobody had problems with it, which is great.
How lovely. But between the storm of Saiyaara and the Coolie War 2 storm, there was also Dhadak 2.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I really kind of admired a lot of what Shazia did in that film, especially the way she rewrote the female character. But on the whole, it didn't move me in the way, and I thought Siddhant was amazing. It's a really, really fine performance. And yet it did not do, and of course, the original was gut-wrenching in ways that we cannot imagine, but it didn't do enough in that direction for me. But what did you guys think of that?
No, it worked for me pretty well. I think I remember when I first read that it's going to be a love story, I was quite apprehensive because there was no love story angle in the original. So, I mean, he wasn't falling in love so publicly. And I really thought, oh, this shouldn't be a dharma angle film, right? Like that was my main. But that worked. I think it being a very full throttle love story sort of anchored it for me. And I loved the climax. Like, the whole edition, absolutely.
The screaming?
Yeah, the screaming. I loved it. Didn't see that coming because...
No, I didn't see that coming at all, and Tripti was excellent in it.
Fab. I loved it. It really worked for me.
For you too, Rahul?
Yeah, it worked for me, largely, because I think we've discussed this many times. When it's a remake of a very, very popular film, and a film that's done so well and it's in our sort of conscious, it's always tricky. And do you watch the film? Like, for people who haven't watched the film, do they watch the film and then watch this film? Especially when our job is to review. This time I actually made the effort to watch it well before.
You watched Periyaram Perumal.
Yeah, I watched it, and I know that's a trap because I know I'm putting myself in a situation where comparison is obvious. But that's also the risk you take when you're remaking any film.
Correct.
In my head.
Correct.
So I wanted to watch it just to know, because that, of course, Hindi cinema doesn't do a lot of themes the way it's done down south, and so I wanted to see how it will influence my own reading of the Hindi film. And I was surprisingly able to appreciate how Shazia had tinkered with the original, not just the female character, but so many other things, adding a student leader, sort of also playing around with music the way the original film may not have, because that was more rooted. Here it was more generic. It was, you're talking about a small city somewhere. So I really like the fact that they not only went with the love story or making it a love story, they actually told us that, if the male character was not allowed to love in the first film, here even if he is allowed, there's not much of a difference. So I found that they did interesting things in the adaptation, and I've not seen that often in Hindi cinema. You normally go copy paste, or you just trust that people will watch this because they love that.
Or not know anything about the original.
Or not know anything, and which is, more often than not, that's the case. The Hindi cinema audiences haven't watched the original, and that's who they are making it for. But despite that, I like what they did here for even people like us who had watched it.
Correct.
It's a very tricky thing, and there's no winning sometimes. And I think this is as far as you can win with a Hindi film in terms of performances, music, screenplay, whatever things they did, and they learned from Dhadak, I feel. What they did wrong there, I think there were lessons learned, and I think Shazia is a voice I actually look forward to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What was interesting for me in this remake scenario is the Sania Malhotra film, Mrs., which is of course a remake of The Great Indian Kitchen, and Mrs. she's superb. She's an excellent actor, but the film didn't work for me, and I was just like, that's such a stunning movie. Why would you remake it? And then I saw how it traveled, how it impacted people and families, and how women spoke out. And I was like, I was so wrong, right? Because I'm assuming just because I've seen The Great Indian Kitchen, so has every other person. And most average people will not seek out a Malayalam film and watch it, right? But when they see Mrs. and they see those things which are so important to talk about happening, it like, and I was like, my God, lesson learned, that even if it doesn't work for you, it's an important thing to have been made. You know, which I think is probably true for Dhadak 2 as well.
Yeah.
Correct. And you know, I really want to mention, I mean, it got lost because we were talking about War 2 and Coolie. I mean, the industry was talking about War 2, Coolie. But Dhadak 2's opening was pretty good.
Right.
And I think it's really gone underreported. It opened at 3 crores, which is a very big number for a film directed by a new director, starring Siddharth Chaturvedi and Tripti Dimri. It opened at 3. At a time when it was sharing screen space with Son of Sardaar 2, it was fighting Saiyaara. There was, I think, Superman was playing. Fantastic Four was supposed to come out. F1 was still raging. It's a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
So I think when the film opened at 3 and it continued at 3 and 4 Saturday, Sunday, I think it's a huge win. It really is.
Right.
And it shows that there is an audience. They may not have turned up in huge numbers for whatever reasons, but there is. And I think that's a great sign.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the favorite film of the month?
Saiyaara.
All right, we'll let you have it.
Yeah, because we watched Saiyaara in August as well. So yeah, it's
that's
this month's favorite.
This is so cute.
If it runs till September,
ask me again next month.
Yeah.
I love it. Truthfully, I also saw it again. Because I did an interview.
You hit this.
The
cult is spreading.
The cult is spreading, and I have to say I did enjoy it a lot more. And you know, the music it grows. It's much more hypnotic. And the women I went with were seeing it for the first time and just weeping. They were just bawling in their chairs, and of course that kind of rubs off. So yes, agreed. Okay.
When you're freed from the review pressure of a Friday, and sometimes if we watch it the second time, it's a totally different
experience. Can be.
It is. Like whether we like to admit it or not, that plays a big role.
Yeah.
That's true. But my favorite
here
film...
also, sorry, Justin, I was sitting and taking notes.
Oh, really? For the interview.
I was still taking notes.
Very well done.
You know, I remember there was a screening where it was one of those premieres where there was a lot of industry people, and I had gone to see this one particular film because I had to review it, and I was sitting there with my notebook, and Abhishek Bachchan turned to me and said, "Have you no shame?" I was like, this is my job. I have to take notes. But I want to say yes, Saiyaara, and I'm so happy that it ran.
Same.
I'm just so joyful that, you know, you have two actors who are skilled and have screen presence, and you have a storyteller who's like, you know, just peaked in this way. But I would say my favorite film of August was Weapons.
Yeah, same. Actually,
I mean, jokes aside, yes, Weapons. Technically, it actually released in August, and it stayed with me. It's really stayed with me. And you know, horror films, see there's a burden of always meaning something, right? Having a social angle, having something really clever and smart that only the audience will decipher. This worked on so many levels. Even if you didn't understand it, it was so good to watch. It was so well made.
I was just sitting there, and for me what was amazing was that I was laughing out loud.
Correct.
Right?
It's a funny film.
It's funny. And I was horrified. Right? And I was screaming. I mean, those jump scares really, there were one or two places I was like, ah! And I'm watching like this. You know, sometimes, do you guys do this? Like, do you watch with your eyes a little bit closed?
No.
Fully open?
Yeah, fully open, dark
Maybe
blue.
I look like this sometimes, but that's
I'm pretending and I'm doing this, and then because it's too embarrassing to do this. So.
We should take notes, Anu. We should,
It'll give me a break, right? But it was scary and funny and also moving.
I liked how funny it was.
Exactly.
It kept telling the viewer, you know, if this were to happen in the real world, there'd be some really darkly funny reactions, and this is how it is.
Yes. And I didn't see the humor coming. I mean,
none of it. Those were the jump scares.
Correct.
Yeah.
I watched it at City Mall. It was a 12 a.m. show at night.
Nice.
And it was packed. It felt like Saiyaara, Pathan, Jawan, because the audience was sort of getting scared at the same time, laughing, and it's sometimes when they're getting scared, they laugh, right?
You have to release tension.
And I love that. And Weapons had that throughout. Like, people were just laughing either because they were genuinely scared or because it was really funny. And I think that is a great film. Loved it.
It's truly a great film. Should we end with recommendations?
I mean, weapons would be one
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure.
For me,
Whenever it
weapons.
comes, I think it's not in theaters anymore.
No,
no?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Not
So
sure.
whenever it's available on streaming,
Yeah.
please see Weapons. It is brilliant. For me, one of the things I recently caught is a documentary on the making of Jaws.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Okay, it's on Geo Hotstar, and it's called Jaws at 50.
I'm sold. Yeah.
You know, and sure, it's format-wise, typical talking heads, archive, you know, the usual. But Steven Spielberg is talking about how badly, because it was such a difficult shoot, right? Because of the water, the shark wouldn't work. He was 27 years old.
Yeah.
All right, and it's over budget. It's all going down. He thought he would be fired anytime, and he talks about how badly it scarred him, so that even once the film was released, it made a first film in the history of cinema to make $100 million. He said that he would cry, just sit and cry, because he was so scarred by the making. And I was like, oh my God, like it was such an insight into what it takes to make movies. So it's lovely, highly recommended.
Yeah, no, great, can't wait.
Without watching it, I'll recommend it. I'm obsessed with Jaws ever since I was a kid, so I can't wait to watch it.
You should watch this. Okay, what do you guys want our viewers to see?
I mean, in theaters is just Weapons, I believe, the last thing that we can watch. Streaming,
I've started watching this Netflix show called Hostage. It's a very pulpy, nice, crowd-pleasing show about a British Prime Minister whose husband is abducted. It's very fast viewing, 7-8 episodes. I sometimes just start watching stuff while eating, like most of us do, and sometimes it sticks. So this is one of those shows that, you know, defy all your logic every other episode, but it's very enjoyable. So I've been watching that.
Hostage.
Hostage.
Okay.
there's a film, in fact, I'm hoping I'm getting the name right. It's a Malaysian action thriller called Bad Blood or Blood Brothers. Apparently a great action film, which someone recommended that if you didn't enjoy War 2, maybe this is a better option. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
Blood Brothers.
If I'm getting the name right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, there's lots to look forward to in September.
There is.
And we are eternal optimists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we shall return and discuss this more.
Yeah. Can't
Thank
wait.
you.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Justin Rao.
Hi, I'm Rahul Desai,
You're watching us on The Hollywood Reporter India.
and please subscribe.